Early Sunday morning. You guys want more videos?
Exit live.
So you get more videos. That just means we have to wake up at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. Most of you are still asleep. I'm done.
Take my hand. Off to Neverland.
And why is Kevin singing that song?
I can sing some LL Cool J. Mama said knock you out too, because that.
All I could see is Chris Tuck go, you just got knocked the fuck out, man.
That was the ongoing theme for Strikeforce St Louis. It was a super, super entertaining.
And for all you folks out there who've been riding my ass because I went out there and said I don't like GSP, it's not that I don't like him. His fights are very methodical. You know what's going to happen. I.e., for me, that's boring. And yes, I said I wouldn't pay for a pay-per-view that he's on because I know it's going to happen. Yeah. He's going to wrestle. And, yeah, this right here, great card.
Yeah. And you made a point. You said, I don't know if Coker is telling people to stand up or whatever. We'll start with the first fight. That was Roddick versus fucking this big...
OSP is what they were calling him. I was like, that big Bama threw bricks, but he obviously punched himself out of the fight and doesn't quite have all the stamina he needs.
Right.
And Benji Raddick's head is made to submit.
Yeah, he's had it. And there's a couple other fights we'll be talking about that have heads that made to submit and heads that met to submit.
Yeah.
Speaking of heads that are made to submit.
Anyway, OSP won that by unanimous decision.
Right. Antonia Bigfoot Silva
versus Mike Kyle, who, as he said in his pre-fight interview, God would not let him down. God would put him in the right place, and God would never... Go talk to the wide receiver of Buffalo and see how he feels. By the way, Steve Johnson, you are my hero. That is the first person to ever blame God for losing. And for any of you who've watched this show, I've been hard on people and teams who only thank God when they win. It's about time somebody blamed God for a loss.
Mike Kiley just told God to take him down to 205.
Yeah.
Because you know what?
I thought
if God starved him, he is nasty at 205. Because didn't he just beat the guy that's holding that title? I don't know. Anyway, he fought. He looked great in the first round. I thought he was going to put Silva away, but I don't know if I'd say he punched himself out or more that Silva has a jaw that is a rock jaw. Not only does his jaw look like it's a rock jaw.
Dude, who's the dude from Bond?
Huh?
Is it Odd Job?
What?
The big dude from Jaws.
Jaws.
That's
Jaws from the old James Bond movies. Yeah, that's Antonio Bigfoot Silva. I'm gonna tell you what,
Bigfoot Silva is getting good.
Yeah, Bigfoot Silva's getting good. I'm gonna tell you what, Bigfoot Silva. Look, this is show, and George and I are ass clowns, and we don't have our.
Look, we're not speaking in Portuguese. He has no idea what we're saying.
Good. Okay. So anyway, now Robbie Lawler, one of my favorite fighters. Matt Lindland. George went on a rambling thing about Matt Lindland, and I kind of laughed and said, "Okay, George, you're overdoing it." No, you weren't. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you what. Matt Lindland should stop fighting.
Licensing him to fight.
Right. And I'm going to tell you why. Not because he's been knocked out, but because he chose to stand up and box with Robbie Lawler, who has nasty hands, and Lindland doesn't have a stand-up game, and he's a southpaw who he's had bad history with. He chose to box with him, so that makes me think that his previous bouts have caused him to have brain damage.
Matt Lindland, you ran for political office in Oregon. You got political office in Oregon. Stay your hind parts up in the Pacific Northwest and just enjoy retirement. Now, I understand speaking to some other people
because he's a great fighter.
Once the fighting's in you, you have to fight. You got to be a fighter. Dude, if you're smart enough to go run for office, you don't need to be fighting. Period. End of story. Just stop. Because seriously, dude, when he got hit, I was like, he's dead.
Yeah,
and I'm not even trying to be funny.
No, it's not. It was scary.
He might be if he continues down this road, you might be the first person to get killed in a legally sanctioned fight.
Because he's getting knocked out viciously. I mean, he looks like when you take a damn goldfish out of the fishbowl and they're like,
yeah. And Robbie Lawler hit him with one punch like you're supposed to do and sat there and went,
yeah,
he's dead.
Yeah. Now, speaking of another knockout, there were knockouts. This whole fight was KOs. Paul Daley said, you know what? I don't have to sneak Scott Smith in the back of the head. I'm going to sneak him in the front of the head, and basically made him face plant into the canvas.
That tells you just how good Josh Koscheck is.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
For you people who have any doubt about the talent difference between the UFC and Strikeforce,
it's a huge difference.
Dude, there's got to be a gap this big. Yeah. I mean, but to me, that just shows me what we're about to see with GSP and Koscheck. They're just going to constantly try to take each other down.
Yeah.
Because that's all Koscheck did versus Paul Daley. Koscheck didn't try to finish that fight. Mm-hmm. He just took him down, rode him, punched him, took him down, rode him. And Paul Daley could do nothing. But you know what he did tonight? Ha!
Yeah. And basically called out everybody. Now, I'm going to tell you what. He called out one person, Diaz. One of Diaz. But I would love to see that fight. That would be an entertaining fight. Strikeforce has entertaining fights. Now, the last fight of the night was Dan Henderson. I think this fight ended up the way everybody thought it would end up. And that's Dan Henderson crushing with that overhand right.
Dude, they're trying to name his overhand right the H-bomb. Stop it.
Okay,
Just
yeah.
stop.
They're stretching it, okay? Bottom line is Dan Henderson there's a huge gap in my opinion, between Dan Henderson and Babalu. Great.